morals?
morality without God.
Why is a God required?
Well, if you look at it, the reason why is because without an objective standard of good, if you look into atheism, that just leads to modal collapse because it's necessarily true that all subjective morality is morally good if you don't have objective standard of good. If person A
But
says
do you believe that
behavior A,
everything God says is good?
yeah, he has the objective will of the universe.
Then we have
Your
modal
will,
collapse because
your,
God
your,
could literally
your,
command anything and it would always be good. So there's no
no,
standard there either.
but yes, it is because your will is subjective. Your will is subjective and dependent upon your only has an influence in your sphere. So what you are doing, you're saying you as atheism is basically lawlessness because you're saying that no matter whose behavior, if a rapist says I grape women and this and that's my subjective morality, I grape women, uh, and you
I
have to say
I can
he,
say that
he
they're
has a
wrong. Yeah, I can
he
do
has a
that.
no, you can't say it.
Yes, I can. I believe that it's wrong. I have
But
that belief.
I'm gonna tell
Maybe I
you.
can't. What you're confusing, and people do this. You're
Mhm,
confusing the fact that, and I wouldn't even call it a fact, but the
mhm,
proposition that perhaps I wouldn't be able to convince that person that they are wrong, that what
mhm,
they're saying isn't good,
mhm.
but I still believe it's good. So yes, I can say that it's wrong. In
And he
fact, I'm going to
believes,
do it right now. It's wrong.
uh
Here's what
and
you
he,
can't do.
and
If
this is what
God said to do that, you would
mhm.
say that it's not wrong.
Listen.
I
Let
would
me
say
finish
that
my
it
point.
is wrong. So the only
It's
person here that could
it,
ever be in favor of raping women is
mhm.
you.
At the end of the day, if the rapist says it's right and you say it's wrong, both of your positions are morally
Okay,
good
ready?
within
Ready?
atheism.
I
But you have
ready?
no.
Ready? Ready? The rapist said God told me to do it. Now tell me whether it was right or wrong.
No, because that's not the case.
Angel,
That's not
the
the case.
grapist says God told me to do it. Now tell me whether or not it's right or wrong.
But that's
But
impossible because we have
just answer the question, please.
no because it's not what God
No,
told him to do. It's not what God told him to do.
you don't
Listen,
know that.
I do. We have an objective standard of good spoken through the words of Jesus
So
Christ.
rape is defined as
No,
being
let me
not
tell
good.
you why.
Therefore, we don't
Let me
need
tell
God
you
to know
why.
that it's wrong.
Let me tell you why I can say the grapist
Angel,
is
you
wrong.
didn't hear what I said.
Can I
So
please tell you
even
why?
so, God could not possibly have done that because God is bound
Hmm.
by these moral rules or moral
I'm gonna
laws or
tell you
whatever.
why.
Sexual
I'm gonna
assault
explain.
is defined as
I'm
being wrong, so God
I'm gonna
couldn't
explain to you
command it.
why.
We don't require God to know it
Okay.
then.
I'm going to explain to you why. Because God's will, God has the objective will of the universe. His will was spoken through Jesus Christ. Jesus said, I command you to love one another. Jesus said, love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Great.
Jesus said, hold up. Jesus said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do.
Great.
Jesus taught us, Jesus is our objective standard of
Okay, what if
morality
Jesus
because he
said
spoke of
to rape
God's will.
somebody?
But that's ridiculous because we already have his word. So you, as an
So we should
atheist,
only do the things that
you,
Jesus said.
you,
Should we ban
listen,
Congress members from trading stocks? Jesus
why?
didn't say whether or not
Because
we should do
Jesus
that.
is the objective standard
Oh,
of good.
you're just such a
His will
bloviating.
is.
There's no point in having conversations with you sometimes. It's so
But
frustrating.
you not I'm asking you to ask me the question. If atheists, if all morality is good, how can atheists be
I never
moral?
said all morality is good.
It has to be within atheism, though. Do you
No, it
know how
doesn't.
morality? Hold up. Do you
Angel,
know
I
how morality?
literally
Hold up.
believe that things like sexual assault are wrong. So
Do you
obviously
know
I'm
how? Hold
capable of
up.
believing that.
Do you know how morality is defined? Define morality for me.
Morality is like the idea of like actions we should or should not do.
No, it's not. Let me read the definition from straight from the dictionary.
Okay.
And the principles concerning the distinction between right and wrong and good and bad behavior.
Yeah, so
As an
what we should
atheist,
and should not do.
as an atheist,
That's what I
anybody's
said.
distinction between right and wrong is right. So you have modal collapse. If a person says, "I great women," and that's right,
If a
you
person
and you
says
say
God
it's
told me
wrong,
to do
you're
it, then
both
according to
more
you,
in
they
good
are right.
stance. Atheism is illogical because it leads to modal collapse. Because it's just
That's
everyone's
assuming that moral facts are real.
listen. You don't have no objective standard of good, so everybody's
Yeah,
morality
well,
is
that
equally
is
good.
okay. Angel, let's do a quick timeout here because there's actually an important question that I want to ask you. Do you
Okay.
believe you can derive an ought from an is?
Or what?
Do you believe you can derive an ought from an is?
Explain what you're saying.
You don't know about this? This is like a fundamental thing in
No,
philosophy.
explain what you're saying.
Can you say what the way things are determines what we should do?
The way thing. Oh, if you're an atheist, yes. If you're an atheist, you're a soulless animal with no moral law. So you don't have any moral law.
You're not
So
even trying to answer the question.
I just answered you. Within the context of atheism, yes, because you're a soulless animal with no moral law. So if you want a great women or you want to sex traffic
Well, I
women,
don't.
and that's your morality, then yes, that's perfectly fine. It's morally good to an atheist. How can it not be morally good
God-
to an atheist?
God commanded Moses to capture little girls and keep them as spoils of war for themselves. So was that wrong?
Nothing God does is wrong. He
There,
has
so
to-
you don't believe that even the
Listen.
sexual assault of
Listen,
children
Jacob,
is wrong.
listen.
You don't believe
No.
that sexually assaulting children is wrong.
I'm
Raping
explain this
children
to
is fine if God says so. Angel 2024.
I'm gonna explain this to you again, like I'm in third grade class. Everything God's will is good. God's divine will was working through subjective human morality that led to the death and birth and resurrection of Jesus Christ. All our commandments come from Jesus Christ, who says to love one another, who says bless those who persecute you. All our objective morality comes from the words of Jesus Christ. Your subjective morality comes from your limited mind. You think your mind is superior to God. So any atheist, when you can't have any distinction when every distinction between right and wrong is equally good and equally right, you have modal collapse. So atheism is illogical by definition. Without God, God is a necessity. Because without God, all you have is modal collapse because everybody's position is good.
Okay.
You haven't once said.
Okay, person A says, Angel, stop. Person A says, God told me to kill that guy. Person B, oh, God told me not to do that. Who's correct?
Listen.
You're not even going to try to answer the question.
I am going to answer it because you keep dodging, though. Because you can't answer within the context of atheism. I can answer that question.
You think that you've discovered some grand problem that atheism has, but you have the same problems or worse problems.
Because if it's not in line,
you literally said it's fine that the Israelites raped children.
If it's not in line with
you have serious problems, Angel.
If it's not in line with the words of Christ,
you refused to condemn the capture and rape of children. You have problems.
Our morality comes from the words of Jesus Christ, who said, I command you to love one another.
And God commanded the Israelites to take little girls as spoils of war.
You can't defend atheism. I asked
atheism isn't a worldview.
You can't defend atheism. Tell me in the context of atheism. I'm asking you to talk about
There's no such thing as in the context of atheism. This is a non-starter.
Yes, it is. Talk about it without God, morality without God. Talk about it for a second from that point of view. If you don't have any God and you have a sex trafficker that says, I sex traffic women because what's morally good to me is taking care of my family. That's what's right to me. That's his distinction between right and wrong. and that his position has to be morally
Angel,
good.
tell me why sex trafficking is wrong.
Without his position has to be more. I just told you.
No, you didn't. Tell me why it's wrong.
I just told you. Because it's not in line with the words of Jesus Christ.
Says who?
Who says it's not in line with Jesus, who love one another.
When did he ever prohibit
that? You're not loving somebody by sex trafficking and put them out there on drugs. Jesus says love.
So what if God told somebody to do that?
But he's not, because it's not in line with the words of God.
Great. So apparently God is bound.
Atheism.
So you're just saying that it's wrong by
questions.
Oh my God, it's so pointless talking to you. So, do you think you can derive an ought from an is?
Not in atheism.
Do you think you can?
Listen, you keep asking these silly questions, and I keep telling you, you would not answer the question.
Do you think you can derive an ought from an is? Don't deflect and talk about me. Just answer the question from your point of view. Can you derive an ought from an is?
From my point of view, I keep telling you this. From my point of view, it's not about my subjective morality. It's about the objective.
I didn't ask you that question.
The words of God.
Can you derive an ought from an is?
No, not based on my subjective, because my subjective morality is not the point. No.
Okay, so morals, by the definition of what morality is, it concerns the actions we should or should not take. So if you say God is the objective standard, that does not justify a reason for following those commandments, because you don't believe you can derive an ought from an is. So any kind of morality would be subjective.
No, it would not be, because God.
But you can't derive an ought from an is. So it doesn't matter. God is the standard. It doesn't matter. You can't derive an ought from an is.
Do you understand the difference between objective and subjective?
I think
What's the difference?
Objective means it's true in all cases, regardless of circumstance or personal opinion.
And what's subjective mean?
Just the opposite of that. Depends on the person. Depends on the circumstance. Depends on the situation.
Exactly. Look, so the objective standard.
Do you live under the same covenant that the Israelites do?
Let me ask you. No, we are seeds of the promise from Abraham. The Mosaic covenant is something different.
So now that the times have changed, the moral standards are different. Wow, you believe in subjective morality.
No,
okay.
That's why Jesus is the only person.
You literally believe that morality changed when Jesus came. So there we go.
The only person
you have a new
covenant
to
fulfill the promise of Abraham is Jesus. But what you can say, because if you look at what objective is, it explains it beautifully. Because if you look at this, for instance, the speed of light is the objective speed of the universe.
That's great.
The same.
When children are sexually assaulted, does it cause them harm? Yes. So it's objectively true?
It's subjective.
Yes. So we could ground it in that objective fact.
But as an atheist, you're a soulless animal with no moral law. So you cannot say any behavior is bad. None.
What makes God's law moral?
Because if somebody says that behavior is good, their position is just as moral as yours.
And if somebody says God told me to do X, Y, or Z, their position is just as good as yours.
No, because
yes.
I have something that transcends subjective human morality. You don't. You said there isn't any objective standard of good. So everybody's is equally good, which leads to modal collapse. You're a soulless animal with no moral law, because everybody's behavior is morally good.
I don't believe that.
And that's why atheism is an illogical position. You can't have morality without God.
Says who?
Every distinction between right and wrong is equally right. What is modal collapse? Let me ask you, what is modal collapse?
If God said, kill somebody, and then tomorrow God said, actually, don't kill that person. Was he wrong the first time?
That's not in line with the words of Christ.
There you go. So the God you believe in is just simply bound by morality. Whatever these moral facts are.
The words of God.
Oh, God, you're insufferable. Does God have reasons for why he commands things? Angel, answer the question or I'm getting rid of you because I don't care anymore. You don't have anything to offer me.
You can't
except for
answer
some
the
content.
question. What is modal collapse? Define.
Does God have reasons for fucking goddamn it, I can't even think. Does God have reasons for the commandments that he gives?
Peterson, I know I got you flustered, but try to answer your question. Ask your question. You atheism leads to modal collapse. It's illogical. You can't have morality. It's impossible.
That's fine. I don't think you can either. So does God have reasons for commanding what he does?
You have, you say that again, ask the question.
Does God have reasons for giving us the commandments he gives us?
That was the Mosaic covenant between God and the Israelites.
Does God have reasons for giving commandments?
Yes, for the Israelites, yes.
Great, so we can appeal to reason and cut out the middleman. God said, don't do blank. Well, apparently there's a reason why we shouldn't do blank, so let's just appeal to the reason. We don't need it to be divinely revealed to us. Or does an action magically become moral when God says it? I think that's actually what you believe, because you refuse to condemn the capture as sexual slaves of children by the Israelites on the grounds that God said do it. You said God never says anything that's bad. That's completely subjective.
No, it's not, because God has to. Can I answer, please? I just sat listening to you. Can I please have my little minute without an interruption?
Because God is the moral standard. So now my question is going to be, says who? Peterson, on what grounds, by what logic?
I know you're flustered. Can I please answer, though? I just sat and listened to you. Can you show me?
I know what your answer is, and I already gave my rebuttal.
Can I have the same courtesy? The fact of the matter is, God, divine will was worked through the Israelites, which led to Jesus Christ. Through Jesus Christ, God gave us our objective morality, and through the words of Jesus Christ. So we look. Our objective morality transcends our subjective morality. With atheists, you're soulless animals with no moral law. So everybody's
You're not answering my question.
Is equally good. I just answered your question.
What was my question, Angel?
Are you a soulless animal?
What was my question? Am I lying?
Do you think you're a soulless animal?
I'm not answering your question. What was my question?
Why can't you be proud of being where did I answer your question?
What was my question?
It was about morality.
You don't even know what my question was. No, your rambling answer was not an answer to my question.
It was a same question you've been asking about morality, whether if about God's rules and God's laws, which came. You don't understand the Bible when it talks about the difference between the Abrahamic promise and the Mosaic covenant. We're under the Mosaic covenant, which
I don't even remember what my question was at this point. Somebody's going to have to remind me. You've derailed us so badly. You did such a bad job of not answering the question that now I forgot the question.